Welcome everyone to SEO Office Hours. My name is Michael Chidzey. I'm an SEO here at Good Signals. And part of what we do, along with special guests, are these office hours sessions where people can jump in and ask their questions around their website and web search. By the way, nobody here is in the hot seat and we might not know all the answers, but multiple heads thinking about a problem should help. We've had a bunch of questions submitted already, as you can see, which we'll go through. But if there's anybody here live on the call who would like to ask any questions, please feel free to flag yourself in the chat functionality, which will be monitored. Also, there's usually a bunch of other amazing SEOs live on the call who share their ideas, experiences, and perspectives. I personally think that's one of the best things about SEO Office Hours, not just hearing from the four of us, but everybody else. So please continue to do that. Like always, with me today is Juliana Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. Good morning, happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Yes, another great episode today, our 76th one, as I mentioned earlier. So thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, we've got quite a big, quite international SEO office hours today: UK, Bangladesh, Spain, Netherlands, India, South Africa, Philippines. If there is a country that I have not mentioned, please write that down in the chat. And yeah, as Mike said, my name is Juliana Turnbull, and I've been happy to be a co-host with Mike since the beginning. We started this November 2023, and I organize search events here in Barcelona and also in London. And today we have two very special guests. We have Ramon and Preeti. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning. Greetings from Holland.
Excited to be here.
So we have Ramon dialing in from Holland. You are the founder of Eijkemans. It's a boutique SEO automation workshop and consultancy company based in the Netherlands. And you've got over 20 years experience in search marketing. You've worked in-house, you've worked at major publishers, and you've also run your own agency, and you also work for international clients too. You've spoken at many conferences across Europe. You've also work with organizations ranging from scale-ups or startups to corporates and government organizations too. And you are actually speaking at Digital Olympus September 11th. So that's
I'm not speaking, I'm attending.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. You are attending Digital Olympus.
Yeah. So if anyone is there, say hi and we'll talk.
Great. All right. We look forward to seeing you there. I will share your company details in the chat here so people can connect with your company there. So I just keep seeing people's chats. Hello, morning, Isaac. Morning, Jonathan. Connect here. So this is your company e-card, so then they can find out more about your company and of course about you. And welcome Preeti. So Preeti has been coming on the show regularly. You've been in the audience many episodes. I don't know when you first started coming, but thank you for your support. You are the founder and growth consultant at Pact. You help at SEO SaaS companies attract the right users. You also help them to reduce churn and also increase engagement by ensuring that they stick with the product using product-led growth principles. This is very important. You've also featured on the SEO Mindset podcast, and you also spoke at Bright Locals SEO for Good. You've also had mentions in various publications like HubSpot, Search Engine Land, Women in Tech SEO, Moz, SEO FOMO, and so many more. Preeti, you're very busy. How do you do that? Oh, and you were also at Google I/O Connect Bengaluru in July last month. So very impressive how you do everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Also, Preeti has spoken on SEO Office Hours a couple of times as well, not just being a guest. So good, we wanted her back.
Yeah, she's been a big supporter. And thank you also everyone for joining us today. We've got Mark, Simon, Jonathan, Jordan, EJ, Isaac, Rob, Lamos, Julia, Boran, Ikra, Gatsi, Caitlin, Albert, and Jeff, Ian, Favor, Joris. Loads of people on the show today. As you all are enjoying the show, you can click a like on the previous videos that you've watched, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And for those that are watching us as a recording, you can always join us live 9:30 a.m. British Summer Time. And we've got loads of questions today, Mike, so I'm going to pass this back over to you.
Just before you do, I think Aleda wanted you to say something. Is that right?
Oh no, it was just there's lots of things coming out in AI, and actually Aleda shared something on LinkedIn. She's been sharing a lot around AI. Maybe when we have that question, I will share that. And she's also doing a survey too, state of the state of AI search optimization. That anyone can do that until September the 8th. And the results will be published there on SEO FOMO September the 10th. That will be a very interesting one. So I will share this. Oh, I think it's actually been shared. Ah, thank you, Jordan. He's already shared it. Perfect. Yeah, so loads of stuff. It's great to actually have the data to then make a decision based on that. So that'll be interesting to see the results from that. Okay.
Amazing. Should we get cracking?
Yes.
Pre-warning, I have a bit of a sore throat, so if I struggle with questions, you might need to take over, Joe. Okay, so this company, they are an estate agency. So when they say agency, that's I looked into them, and that's what they're referring to. We've been considering expanding our agency into other boroughs. From an SEO perspective, could that hurt our visibility in our core borough by diluting the brand? And we also had a similar question, which was around whether they should create pages for suburbs or cities that they serve so that Google knows that they're location specific. So two sort of similar-ish questions. Who would like to kick off? Preeti, you're smiling. Are you okay to start? Is that okay?
Yep.
Go for it.
So I'll go with the second question, which is about creating the pages for different suburbs or areas. I, from what I have seen, especially working with the clients in agencies, is that those companies create pages for different location even if they are not actually serving there. It's just, let's say, an online service. They are only doing online calls and stuff, and still they are making pages, and those pages are very thin content and not so good quality. So I, most of the time that I see pages like these are not very high quality. So I don't really like recommend do making these pages. But if you have a location specific content for to make every page unique and interesting, so I think you should do that.
Great.
Yeah,
Ramon?
I agree. My first, when I read that question, my first thought was, okay, how many boroughs? Is it just one? Is it two? Is it 2,500? That makes a big difference. So yeah, there should be a product that is actually there. If you want to fill those pages with something, it usually helps if you already have clients there, so you can show reviews of them from people who are living there. But if it's only one, go ahead, come on. So it really depends. Oh, I shouldn't say that, sorry. It's the amount of boroughs you want to expand to. I had to look up what a borough is, by the way. But
Ah, yeah, that's very London. Yeah, it's a part of London that they serve.
yeah.
London.
I can cheat a little bit because I obviously I'm the one that goes through the questions, and I had a quick look at their website, and they're based in East London, and it looks like they offer properties in all over East London. But they tend to focus in the sort of Hackney area, if that helps at all.
Yeah, there is one other question. I'm not really sure if it was implied in the question, but it had to do with the authority that you already accumulated for a certain topic. So in this case, product plus location within a specific location. And then the fear is that, okay, if we expand the locations, will that lower our authority for the thing we have already built up? I guess that is the same answer. How big is the expansion that you're doing? Is it one borough? I wouldn't worry. If it's 5,000, I would worry. And it's in this case, if it's the same product but in another location and you have the product there, then I guess you don't need to worry about it. Of course, you had to build up your new rankings and stuff like that, but it's still the same topic. It's the same kind of product. So yeah, you're still being close to whatever it is that you've built up.
Great. Joe, do you have any thoughts?
Well, actually, in a previous life, I worked as a state agent.
There we go.
Yay! So we actually had our estate agent in Kingston, which is one of the London boroughs, the south one. And then actually my sister worked at another estate agent, a bigger one like Dexter's, and they actually had an office in Kingston, Richmond, and a lot of other boroughs. So they created actually pages for that, separate actually proper landing pages for that, because yeah, you have actually your office and then people can come into the office, and then you could also, of course, focus. Their specialty was obviously focusing on local areas, but it didn't make sense for them to have a web page, or I would say category page for that area if they didn't actually have either one, too many houses or places or apartments, or two, if they didn't actually have an office. So they went hand in hand with office and pages. And
Oh, sorry, go for
no,
it.
I was gonna say, and just want to say, it doesn't hurt someone's visibility, but with a lot of estate agents, they focus on one area and then so known, okay, we're known for the area in, let's say, Richmond or in Hackney in this case. And then you can expand into other areas, but you'll still always be seen as, if you want, you're an expert in that area. Then you'll need to then do the whole building the brand to be known as, okay, I'm the estate agent in North London. But just the way that London is, most agencies tend to try and focus in just a couple of areas because it's so massive.
Great. Yeah, I'd also just question where you get your traffic from at the moment, and whether it's your website or whether it's one of the huge sites like Rightmove and some of those others, because you might, just looking at the site, it might be a little bit of a waste of time spending ages building out lots of other pages when maybe you get your inquiries and traffic from somewhere else. So that would be something that I would bear in mind. Also, I think boroughs that, like Joe mentioned, there are also, that's obviously language that you use, but you could also just position yourself as an East London agency, for example, and then there are tons of boroughs under that. So it doesn't, that just might be something that you're using. But yeah, I think you could probably focus a lot on that side of things. There, you want to spend a lot of time building out pages on your site to try and drive more traffic. But if you're getting your traffic mostly from, say, Rightmove and some of the other bigger sites, I'd probably see what you can do to get more inquiries and so on through there as well. Yeah. Joe, do we have anything in the chat?
And that was a good point of where you'd get referral traffic from.
Hmm.
Yes, we do. Simon mentioned that if you have offices in other boroughs, then it makes huge sense to create separate pages for the SEO offices and include the properties in that borough and the agents. Local SEO is key. EJ was saying that if the product is not overly different in each borough or location, you could always have that one single product page and then create ads if you want to target those different boroughs. And Jonathan said that he is an estate agent client, and it's pretty normal to have branch pages if you have a brick and mortar presence in the area. You may also have houses for sale in specific location, provided you have those houses. So it wouldn't make sense to have a houses for sale in, he said, Mordor. Houses for sale in Mordor if you don't have sell it in Mordor. Or yeah, there's a place called Morden, I think, in London. So it's like if you don't want to have a house for sale in Morden if you don't actually sell in that area.
I thought you were referring to Mordor.
No, he did say that, Mordor, yes, from Lord of the Rings. But then there actually is a place in London, Morden,
Okay.
or Mordon. Simon's actually provided a definition of what a borough is as well. It is an Old English sort of name. It's a dwelling with a fortified enclosure, apparently. Interesting. Jeff said that could they consider building out just a few pages and seeing how they perform before applying to all boroughs? Yes, that's good testing. So you avoid that massive time investment. That's a good tip. Yeah, that's great. Oh, and I jumped in.
The product is the limitation. If don't create pages where you don't sell houses or you don't have an office.
Yeah, ask yourself, what's the point of this page for anything before you build a page? Yeah, so loads of chats.
I think, yeah, that's a really good point around whether you actually have any products to sell in those locations. Because obviously, if somebody's searching for, I don't know, houses to rent or houses to buy in a particular borough, and you don't have any houses to rent or buy in that borough, then there's not much point in building pages. Yeah. But maybe if you've sold houses or rented out houses in that area before, maybe you could use those as case studies on those pages initially. But yeah, as I said, looking at the site, I'd probably focus on those bigger websites. But yeah, if you don't have the products, that to me seems like that's a really
Applies to basically everything.
Yeah.
exactly exactly. I want to buy traders, but I don't sell traders. I sell something else. Okay, oh, lots of questions. Let's go for okay, this one's an interesting one. Has anybody here recently worked on launching a new brand or website? I'd love to hear what you did to get organic growth early on and what worked best for quick wins.
Quick wins.
I haven't, sorry.
No? Okay, nice. That's done.
Get in there.
Do you have any thoughts?
I haven't did the whole thing for myself, but one of my clients, actually, they're not my client anymore, but they made a really new website and asked me to help with it. And I was like, I tried, I first asked them to understand, okay, what is it like, where is your audience right now? Where do you want to prioritize? So they said that, okay, search is something that they want to prioritize. And then we were like, we will start with the most high quality content. We like, yeah, did some research. And I believe one of the things that we started with was a content cluster on one of their main core topics. And that helped us with getting a lot of brand awareness. So yeah, that's what we started, and ensuring that the website has good technical SEO, and also not just the SEO side of things, but making sure that they also had an app, making sure that their app and website provides a seamless experience to the users, and that they're not being confused anywhere, like when they're scrolling through the website or the app. Yeah, that's what we did.
Great. Joe, what about yourself?
Yeah, so in terms of what worked best for these quick wins, so it's really, I launched one section of a website for a particular event that we are sponsoring. So that always works very well. And we also did what we call now influencer marketing, but it was working with bloggers back then. So we actually worked on a content calendar around the actual event that we were organizing, did research as to what people would be asking, how we could prepare for the event. It was a race, how to get fit, how to stay in shape, how to basically prepare for this. And we also had bloggers working with us. They were posting content too. For us, in terms of trying to get them quick wins, as I said, it's really about the event. We were promoting the event, we were sponsoring it, we had bloggers working, and then we actually got people writing on our blog. So that worked really well. I would recommend, if you can, tie it in with an actual event. And of course, for things like Search London, when we do events and things like that, we always get a big peak in traffic when we have our different events.
Very smooth mention there of Search London. Like the
It
way
was,
you managed to get that into
that was more
that
recent.
answer. That was impressive.
Not salesy, I'm just
I'm
saying.
joking. I'm joking. I've worked on a few launches of sites, brands, and so on. And I think for me, one of the things is focusing on the actual product itself, or if it's a service or whatever, and just making sure it's really good and has a point of difference to either what's out there already, or if it's a totally new thing, then even better. But just try and make that really good, and to a point where I personally believe that it's something I would use, or I can really understand why users would use it. I find that's a really easy starting point to when you're marketing something. And it really helps them when you're reaching out to publications or you're just writing content. I think that stuff really comes across that you've got a really great product. And like I said, that point of difference. One of the things is looking out for whether there's any similar content out there that maybe could inspire you to create content for your site, but also get involved with other websites and their content as well. Product that I'm working on at the moment, they've basically teamed up with a big brand, like it's a real well-known brand. And sorry, I'm just laughing at Simon's thing that I've got an estate agency side hustle. I don't, I promise. Yeah, we team up with a well-known brand actually. And so what I'm currently doing at the moment is looking at why people like talking about that brand that we're teaming up with, and seeing if there's a way that we can insert ourselves into future stories related to that. And so this product then naturally gets talked about and is mentioned whenever the sort of original brand is talked about. So Sorry, what was that?
Sure.
Ah, I see. Sorry, I'm just going to mute you. There we go. Cool. Yeah, so I think basically looking for interesting content ideas, but most importantly, for instance, I'm working on another at the moment that it's a travel company, and we've gone back again and again to really focus on making those itineraries really strong so that they stand out against some of their competitors. And also, why would anybody use them over going with one of the existing travel brands that's out there? Joe, do we have anything in the chat?
We do lots of comments here. Thanks, Simon, so much here. He has said to rush the launch. Make sure that the build is crawlable, get it indexed on launch because maybe it hasn't been. And then he said, then it's hit the socials, the brand push, the PR stunts, etc. Actually, Rob had a good question. Do you know what industry this brand is in or site?
It looks like it's like a text like messaging platform,
Oh,
but
okay.
because it's new, I couldn't really work out exactly. Maybe some clear information on what the product is could help. Hence, me
Yeah.
going down the route about the product and making the product really good and strong.
So Jonathan said I'd look at your positioning and competitive advantages and dig into what makes your site, your brand special. Another tip is think about if you want to be weird or normal. Check out Obviously Awesome by April Dunford. And we'll check that out too, Jonathan. John said commodity products, stroke services are going to be really hard or expensive. Yeah, that's true. To rank, he means. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, that's
There's
it.
one thing. Oh, sorry. There's one thing I'm thinking about is okay. So the things that we're hearing right now, there are basically things you have to do anyway. If you're optimizing a website, you have to think about the product. It has to be correct technically. You have to do PR, etc., etc. But what is it that stands out specifically for something that is totally new? A new website, a new product, maybe even a product that nobody knows yet about, or a solution nobody knows about. I'm not saying I know what to do, but I would specifically look for something. Okay, how can we get this conversation started about this new thing that we're doing? So, yeah, for instance, going along with a known brand or trying to work with influencers or something like that. I think specifically for something that is really new, you also have to do something to get the conversation started about what it is that is new.
Yeah, I
So look for it. Yeah.
when I've been involved in things like that before, it's been very much old school, traditional PR, finding influencers who work in similar areas. And the founder, for example, going to relevant places and giving talks and things like that, and just educating everybody about it, and with that idea that hopefully more people will talk about it. And but obviously, from that perspective, you're almost building a need for people even searching for what you do.
Talking about demand generation here.
Yes, exactly. But in terms of one that I've got in my mind, this product didn't exist once upon a time, but there were, for instance, professional services that were very similar. And so actually, it was very much getting those professional services to those people, those influencers to start talking about their product and what they offer. And that was a really good way, as well as contacting journalists. I know that they had a piece in the Guardian, and that was something that really helped them with getting their first however many customers. And yeah, the founder having a really an amazing story, and they also shared the actual design process because it's like an online product, and they had some really cool features that were very new at the time. And another thing they ended up doing was Apple released there was a big Apple release. I've got a feeling it might have been the first watch, but they managed to be involved in that first release where they were one of the recommended apps for that. And that also obviously really helped. But they were used as like a cool example of that. So again, it's just thinking about how you can build partnerships with what's there, which is great. Okay, super. Okay, this one's interesting. It's Joe, do we have anything in the chat? Sorry, I've just
I just wanted to share the book that Jonathan shared. He's shared a link to that from Amazon. It's awesome product positioning. So basically, it's how to nail your product positioning. So you can actually, yeah, people can get it, buy it, and obviously you can generate more business. So check that out. Jonathan's just shared the link there.
Okay, super. Got this one here about what's your number one tip for bringing back a page that used to rank well but dropped? And I don't mean the generic write better content advice. What do you look for first, and what's something you've done that has actually worked?
Mm.
I have something.
Go for it.
Look at the SERP. Last year, I worked for a client that ranked really well for a lot of terms, transactional terms, and they lost rankings. And what we did was really looking at the SERP and trying to find out, okay, is Google able to provide the correct answer if someone is asking this? And what are the ones that are on top? What do they do different from us? So it's like the answer, just write good content. But it's not just that. It's more thinking, okay, that are above us, and especially the ones that were below us before and now are above us. What do they do that we don't? And that could be all kinds of things. It could be technical. In the case of this site, it was mostly technical. But it could also be a misalignment on intent, or maybe that the very meaning of the word has changed, the intent that people have behind it has changed, and that your result is simply not relevant anymore. Those things are possible. It's something many people forget, but just look at the SERP. Look what's happening there. Yeah, that would be the first thing.
Preeti, what about you? Aside from writing better content, how do they get there? What would you look for first if somebody's dropped in rankings? Sorry, I've just seen Simon
Well,
at BBC. Sorry.
I can't tell about their particular situation, but I can tell what happened with me. There was this topic that I was dealing with, and I had a page on that on my website, and it was like the content I had on my page was sufficient enough for that query at that time, but up like sometime later it seemed like that page dropped entirely of the top positions. It used to be number one for a long time, and then it dropped completely. And I, as Raman said, I went to the SERPs and I was like, okay, what's going on? And it seemed instead of reading content, people are watching videos on that topic, and there were a lot of videos in the SERPs. So I was like, okay, let's experiment with that. So I made a video on that topic and embedded on my page, and also put it on on YouTube. And that, even though my page didn't really come up on the SERPs again, the video started showing up. And then a few months later, the page started showing up. And also the fact that I added more screenshots and more related content in the page, because I was looking at the Reddit pages, like the yeah, where people were asking questions related to that topic. And I found out that they were not just looking for that particular topic, but a few more other things related to that core topic. So just included those and added as much information as I could, like not trying to overstuff it or something, but just adding helpful information that I personally experienced or something I saw. And yeah, that helped for me. Yeah.
Amazing. Joe, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add of what I've done, because there's quite a lot in the chat, so I'll share some of that. Unless there's anything you want to say first.
The only thing I was going to say is maybe either look in your CMS to see if you can look at previous revisions, or maybe use something like Wayback Machine and just see what you've changed since these changes, and whether, obviously, one of the things could be that someone else has done something and therefore they're outranking you because they deserve to. But the other thing might be that you've changed something quite significant on the page, and that maybe that was a feature that people really liked or that had really good content, and maybe it's worth just checking. And that also answers the next question, which was, where can I get a cached version of my page from the past? And so I just thought I'd steal that question to answer that one. But yeah, Joe, go for it.
Those are some great tips. Yeah, actually we have, sorry, there's a couple ones. Actually, we have some good tips from Mark. I'm just trying to find it, because every time someone adds something, it keeps moving. Okay, Mark has quite a few tips. So he said, 1, check that the intent hasn't shifted. Make sure it's up to date. That's quite a good one. 2, prompt link it again if it slipped down in hierarchy of the site. So that's also another good tip, because we also don't know like how long this page was ranking for and the time frame of when it dropped. 3, recycle it onto socials. So you could also do some paid to push it again to get the attention, because traffic is lifeblood, with the hope that, of course, people would love to link to it. And 4, if it's evergreen, you can do some adjacent PR and link to that. That's a good thing. Back to recycling content. If it's something around like a study, for example, maybe you got a new study, you can link to that and get some additional PR in that. Also, he said, point 5, he's used media like on TikTok with a CTA for people to search for the brand plus the product or thing, as well as to show search engines people want, as well to show search engines people really want to see you specifically. Jordan said that perform competitor research, so this is another good one. Explore what the current page in position 1 is doing, or the top 3 really, and why. It could be down to lack of citations. Look and see what's happening. Simon has mentioned that normally someone has seen your content and written something to outrank it, perhaps. So, like Ramon said, to look at the SERPs and review that. And another couple of points we've got. So just looking back on it. Rob also said, this is actually quite a refreshing point. He says it's dropped. Maybe it's perhaps the wrong way of looking at it. It's that other companies have grown. There's more competitors out there. Check the other high-ranked results. When the others are overtaking you, learn from them. See what they're doing, and perhaps you can implement something similar, not necessarily copy them. And Isaac is saying that it's challenging to say only one tip. But as Ramon says, look at the SERP. Try to understand what had happened. For instance, the user intent has shifted, the format's changed. It might have gone from a blog to a landing page. So perhaps goes back to you, Mike. You're talking about the CMS. Maybe there's been more competition and they're doing it better. You don't answer your question fast enough. Maybe there's not good internal linking. So look at these different elements as well. So loads of tips there from everyone. Thank you all. Yeah, I like that point as well, that you said, Rob, looking at it, the fact that it's dropped is wrong. It's really important to always be aware of the competitors and not rest on your laurels. I know in SEO we don't do that, but this is a good, I would say, when you see something that has changed in the SERP, I would also say don't be scared of that. That's your opportunity to do something better. And if you have been trying to get buy-in for more resources or a new project to improve rankings and traffic, this might be your way to do that. You're like, oh, look, we saw this drop, or look, we saw our competitors are overtaking us because they're doing X, Y, and Z. Hence, we should do X, Y, and Z as well.
Yeah, definitely. This is what we've lost. This is what that budget of ours was. It's way smaller. Yeah.
We get a few inquiries when people see drops in traffic or because of, say, surrounding like updates and stuff like that. And you'll be amazed how many people start the conversation with, we've been battered in the results, we've been screwed over by Google, stuff like that. It's never the other way around. It's always, this has happened to us. Actually, we haven't done anything with our website for a while and that sort of thing, which is usually the case.
You first start looking at your own site. What did we do wrong? But maybe you didn't do anything wrong, and it's others that are doing things better, or maybe things have simply changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Mark's point about just intent as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What I find helpful, particularly for really specific terms, when you've had one page for lots of generic terms and then you start noticing, say, drops in particular ones. I noticed that if you look at the results, it tends to not just be you, it tends to be others as well. And actually, there are just totally different results that are trying to satisfy that query now. And maybe you're just not the right type of business or website to satisfy that
at that time.
It's on offer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, super. Joe, do you have anything else, or should we jump on to the next one?
We actually have a comment from Mark from the previous question that I saw just as we were asking the other question. I'd like to say that this was back to the question of, has anyone recently worked on launching a new brand website? I'd love to hear what you did to get organic growth early on. What worked best for quick wins? So Mark was saying that with startups, we have worked with, like Ramon is saying, the issue can be that people don't know that solution exists. Only the problem. That means that you don't have the search volume to actually target. With these kinds of companies, his agency has worked with trying to coin the term used for that type of solution so that we have a head start in that. You can then use that term aggressively overall in your marketing to try and get people to call it like that. Your SEO strategy is partly making the best captures MIT for that term, and then the rest of the marketing, the social, above the line stuff, tries to make it a thing. So that was a very good point, because yeah, maybe people don't know about actually the solution, they just know about that problem. So thanks for that comment, Mark.
Amazing. Okay, I think this will be a quick answer, but I'm usually wrong. Hi, Michael. It was a good session today. Question: I run a furniture business and have established a GMB profile, currently ranking at 2 in my local area. People are often making grammatical mistakes when searching for our shop. Should I add these words in descriptions or image tags for more SEO? So should they misspell their brand basically, or misspell terms to essentially try and capture those people that are making those mistakes? I don't think they should. I think if people are, if they're actively looking for your brand and they're misspelling it, which is quite common, people write things quite quickly and so on. If they're looking for you, it's likely that, especially if you're position 2 or 3, they'll go down and find you. That's my opinion. Does anybody else, should you be putting misspellings of your brand in image tags?
Not misspellings. No, of course not, because it's not. I wouldn't trust. I see misspellings and I see them with red neon lights all over the place. They are very obvious and they don't look good. But it could be that there is another way to pronounce or write or a word like a synonym. And if that needs some kind of explanation, so for instance, in travel, if you have flight tickets to Bombay or Mumbai, for example, two different words, you could, for example, between parentheses, say you have formerly called Mumbai or something like that, just to make it clear. That is something, but that is something else. That is not the same as misspellings. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Preeti, do you have anything else to add on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone, including you. And I think it's not the good look on their brand if they try to do that. But I think it's just the time, as Raman said, to just focus on the fundamentals like your name, address, and phone number, and all that stuff, to make sure that you are like fully equipped, basically, all with all the information. Yeah, yeah, I would say that.
Okay, great. Joe, do you have anything to add, or is there anything in the chat?
I'll just due to time, I'll share things in the chat. So Google is quite good at detecting misspellings. Jonathan Moore just did an example of people write Cheltenham. Yeah, so he spelled that wrong. And then they say, oh, these are the results for Cheltenham. So he looked at Cheltenham plumber. No, I wouldn't optimize for that, because yeah, Google can find it. They can say, oh, did you mean this? So
It's not a problem we need to solve.
yeah, exactly. Simon said there might be a few edge cases where misspelling is important to your brand, but normally he would expect the search engines, yeah, to be able to determine your brand in a search based on the context.
Great, amazing. How are we doing for time? I think we can fit one in
13
before our
minutes. Have we
regular
got have we got any AI questions or anything?
We have got one here actually in my hand, which is practically speaking, how can we test if our product is even discoverable in AI? So AI mode, AI overviews, or something like ChatGPT. Has anyone got any thoughts on how to check whether you're discoverable?
Yeah, if you
Go for it.
page gets visits from a chatbot, so you will see it in your analytics. If it gets visits, you know for sure that it's, yeah.
Great. Perfect. Preeti, anything to add to that?
I think it requires a lot of manual searching instead of relying on tools, because I don't know if like how reliable tools are for the whole AI stuff right now. So yeah, I think just maybe try to search words or queries related to your brand or the things that you do, and see if your brand shows up there. That might help. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good answers. There are a lot of tools in the marketplace where you have to purchase it so you can actually track your visibility and the different there's a lot of information out there for that. I'll share one from HubSpot actually that said the 14 best AI SEO tools and how I use them, new data. And also I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and there was Dana. She did a webinar that was on this week, Tuesday, uncovering AI insights in your GA4 data. So that would look like a good session. I wasn't able to make it, but maybe I'm just going to share the YouTube link. You may be able to see that. So there is a lot that you can get from your GA4, but there are also a lot of products in the marketplace. And I'll just share that from the HubSpot blog. They have written a thorough post about that.
Great, amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen online that people have been asking for things like it. They would love an AI mode search console and things like that, but I don't know how comfortable I'd feel with seeing what people are searching for, especially some of the things that you see, or at least I share with something like ChatGPT. And thankfully, you've seen in all the Grok stuff. I don't know if that's the best thing. Okay, I think we answered that one pretty quickly. So let's jump to another one. We have lots of AI ones over here. Has anybody, okay, so this is interesting. Somebody's asked, so we've got these AI tools that can build sites rapidly. And has anybody actually seen anybody have success with building a website using an AI tool where you're feeding it with information? So something like Claude, where you're feeding it with information, or Max Agent, and it builds you a website. Has anybody seen any success with this?
No.
No, okay, one no.
No.
Not, yeah, I was going to say not yet. I've not seen any major, but I think what I was going to say to that is I think a lot of these tools that build these things, that's also only the framework. It's a bit like launching a WordPress theme or something like that. You've still got to add stuff to it and make it with a lot of these rapid build sites. And I think the ones that you're doing that and content as well it's not going to be the best on the.
It's using today's tools to fix yesterday's problems. That's not viable anymore. No.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Joe, anything in the chat before we jump on to the next one?
No, I was actually looking for that question. I couldn't find it in our.
Sorry, I expanded it as I was trying to explain it as I was going. So it was, are people seeing success with rapid build, AI built sites and content, especially for local? I didn't mention the local bit
Okay.
because I didn't like the idea of spinning up loads of local websites. That's not, I definitely wouldn't
Oh, I
recommend that.
see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we've got quite a few questions in the chat.
Go for it.
Sorry, comments. So we've got, sorry, loads of here. Oh, Isaac actually was saying a few things about the previous one. How do you track array of visibility? He's using Peak, PEC.ai, Peak, to understand their visibility, and AccuRanker and SE ranking to see if AIO is showing on the main keywords. Jordan has said that vibe coding is cool. You get
It is.
data breach.
It is.
Yeah, John said he made a site back to this question though, are people seeing success with rapid AI built sites? He said he made a site with Jules last week. It was quite fun. He had to know what the code was though. It was more about having it do the boring bits like looking at APIs and so on. Jonathan said that he knows someone who's used these to build the rapid AI. He knows someone who's used them to build a community site, but that subject is his passion. And just a few things. Oh, GSC is saying, oh, sorry, that was from Edith. He has a question about GSC. Yeah, actually, John was saying, actually, if you use an AI coder to build a blog or a random site, it will usually create a JavaScript-based one, which the AI itself can't read. Oh, that's quite interesting.
I have seen screenshots of very successful sites and then falling off a cliff. I have seen those.
Yeah, seen lots of those screenshots as well of them going up, but no website to look at.
It's until it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at that point where I will. So then we did have one question just around low quality pages, and they want help with speeding up de-indexation, and they've got some ideas, which is around submitting a clean sitemap, and they're wondering should they return 410s, should they block with robots.txt, would you recommend using no index? Or would you guys just wait it out? What if you were in this situation, what would you guys do?
Or 10.
410?
Interesting.
Preeti would 410 as well. Joe?
Oh, sorry, just still reading it.
Still looking for the question. Okay.
I'm reading it, just, yeah, perhaps 410. Yeah, that was indexed by accident, I'm sure, because I didn't want to have to do that, but yes.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is if the plan is to use those URLs and for some of the key pages, you may want to add some new content there and so on, or you can now index those pages until you're ready to use them. I would agree with that as well. But if not, yeah, 4 tens. Okay, final question. What are you most excited about in terms of SEO? Preeti, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
I am excited about the general state of SEO right now because, like, people are taking SEO and trying to mold it in their own ways and trying to make out different names and everything. And I just think that this is the time where one should focus completely, like, more and more on the fundamentals and the basic stuff. But yeah, just excited about the general state of SEO.
Great. Ramon, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
Similar, I would say. I really enjoy scrolling on LinkedIn, seeing people sharing insights, things they're testing, discussing, stuff like that. I also enjoy, but not maybe not in a good way, all the bullshit that is going on. But that it's the same coin, basically, two sides of the same coin. And I really enjoy all the movement that is going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, change and movement, I think, is really exciting, isn't
Yeah.
it? Joe, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
I'm saying everyone's sharing. So I shared in the chat earlier that Leda mentioned that Google was expanding into AI mode into 180 countries, not the EU ones yet. She's always sharing a lot of stuff, which is great. And people are doing lots of testing, as I mentioned as well. The survey was great too. And always excited about events. So SEO FOMO is taking place in just under 2 weeks. And that's in Barcelona. And that will be on September 4th. And we'll be having some panels about AI as well. If you're in Barcelona and you have a ticket, look forward to seeing you there.
Amazing. Great. Yeah, I'm really excited about all the AI agent stuff at the moment as well, and just playing with them in different workflows and all of that sort of stuff. That feels really exciting to me personally. Okay, I think we'll stop there. Thank you so much to our special guests. Ramon, Preeti, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to those who joined us live. Thank you to those who are watching afterwards on YouTube. Please come and join us live. It's so much better than it is. You get to chat to others, and it's like a mini networking event as well. So please join us each Friday. It's so much fun. Joe, thank you so much to you too. And thank you to those who submitted the questions. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday. We've got a bank holiday over here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ramon and Preeti. And thanks everyone for joining us live and also watching recording. And for those in the UK, have a good long weekend.
Yes, we'll do. Have
See
a
you
good
next week.
See you next week for 77th episode.
Hey. Bye.